How does a rider go from Giro d'Italia stage wins, Grand Tour glory, to this? This is the story of Italy's next big hope. A Sardinian who launched himself onto the Grand Tour scene in style back in 2014. Just 7 years later, however, the road would come to an end for this man. Today, we chart the rise and fall of Italy's former wonder kid, Fabio Aru. The story begins in San Giovino Monreale, on the Italian island of Sicily in 1990. There, the young Fabio Aru was born with plenty of sporting ambition. As a young rider, Aru didn't gravitate to the road, instead taking on mountain bike and cyclocross, the latter of which he competed in the World Championships for Italy. After a strong set of domestic results as a youth, he signed for Astana in the summer of 2012. After supporting his teammate Vincenzo Nibali to success at the 2013 Giro d'Italia, Aru started turning heads in the cycling world. But soon his own time would come. 2014 saw the great arrival of Fabio Aru on the cycling scene. Starting the Giro d'Italia without their leader and reigning champion Vincenzo Nibali, Fabio Aru had a chance to make a name for himself at that year's Corsa Rosa. After 2 consistent weeks of racing, Aru sat comfortably in the lower ranks of top 10 before a remarkable ride at Plan de Montecampione, which saw the Sardinian sail away to victory on stage 15. This would mark Aru's first Grand Tour stage win and his arrival as a Grand Tour contender, as he flew up to the top 5 of GC. By consolidating this position, Aru performed well in the final 2 mountain stages. In fact, he moved himself up to 3rd place, claiming his first ever Grand Tour podium. Now as a known quantity, Aru continued this momentum into La Vuelta España, a race that boasted a field of top riders including Froome, Contador, Rodriguez and Valverde. With the podium out of reach and with nothing to lose, the Sardinian became the aggressor, launching attacks to pester the GC rivals. This tactic worked, as Aru left the race with 2 summit finishes as well as a 5th place overall. The best was yet to come, however, with 2015 as Aru's crowning season. As teammate Nibali targeted the Tour de France, now as Italy's hope for the Giro d'Italia, Aru stormed into the race with a target on his back. As the race progressed, we soon witnessed a general classification tiki-taka between Mikel Landa, Alberto Contador and Aru himself. The top 3 positions would line dance between the riders as Astana attempted to play out El Pistolero. With a day in pink on stage 14, Aru was soon getting challenged by teammate Mikel Landa. However, the state of play would change dramatically in the final 2 mountain stages, as Aru kicked away to solo glory on stages 19 and 20.
Contador can't respond, and this is Fabio Aru announcing himself, I think, not only today, but for the future. He's a young man, and he's doing a great job.
With an emphatic attack on stage 20 across the iconic gravel climb of the Colle delle Finestre, Aru put minutes into Contador, but it would not be enough to vanquish the pink jersey from his back. A 2nd place in one of the most attritional Grand Tours of recent memory, Aru's 2015 Giro performance was certainly a statement that he wasn't just a one-tour wonder. Riding on a wave of motivation from the Giro, Aru lines up for the 2015 Vuelta España as co-leader alongside Vincenzo Nibali, a former champion of the race. However, this inter-team dispute would be resolved quickly as Nibali was disqualified on the 2nd stage of the race, allowing Aru space to breathe at La Vuelta. Initially on the back foot at the race, Aru had to make up time in the first week on the early frontrunner Tom Dumoulin, who was laying the foundations for a great battle to come into the race. However, the tables turned on the difficult 11th stage, when Aru and teammate Mikel Landa controlled the stage, securing Aru his first day in the leader's red jersey. With 5 more days in the jersey to come, Aru would soon find himself challenged by Tom Dumoulin and Hakim Rodriguez in the final week of racing. Without the red jersey on his back, Aru knew he had to fight for the race victory. What ensued was a nail-biting battle between Aru and Dumoulin for overall glory. A battle that saw the two enter the final mountain stage with just 6 seconds between them. However, Dumoulin's luck came to a dramatic end as he crumbled away on the final stage, granting Fabio Aru the rite of passage into the winner's red jersey. Now a Grand Tour champion, Aru had achieved the pinnacle of a GC rider's ambition. However, what would come next? A Giro d'Italia victory? A Tour de France victory? The sky appeared to be the limit. As part of the illustrious group of Grand Tour champions in the peloton, Aru seemed to be a level above the rest. However, nothing could have prepared him for the fall of 2016. Now aiming the Tour de France instead of his usual Giro and Vuelta double, Aru attempted to follow the likes of Froome, Quintana and Contador in his preparations. With starts in Catalunya, the Basque Country and Dauphiné, Aru took sight on taking his first UCI World Tour stage race victory. However, the overall would elude the Sardinian, finishing outside the top 10 in all three races. The standout moment of the year would come at the Dauphiné, however, with a solo escape victory there. This was not the Tour de France preparation that he would have wanted. The poor form would continue into the Tour de France, where Aru missed the mark, finishing 13th overall after a disastrous couple of days in the Alps. 2017 would see fortunes change for Aru. By putting 2016 behind him, Aru became the sole leader of Astana after Nibali signed for the Bahrain team. Targeting the Tour de France once again, Aru set his sights on finding form before La Grande Boucle. Riding away from a 5th place in the Dauphiné and a victory at the Italian National Championships, Aru was a key contender for yellow. It wouldn't take long for Aru to make an impact on the race too, as he cruised to stage glory on the summit of La Planche des Belles Filles on stage 5 by attacking away from reigning champion Chris Froome.
La victoire pour Fabio Aru, le champion d'Italie.
Magnifique.
3 ans après Vincenzo Nibali, vous l'aviez senti, l'orange à la paire. Victoire de Fabio Aru à la planche des belles filles.
Now contending for the victory, Aru swapped the Italian tricolore for the iconic yellow jersey on stage 12. However, with just 6 seconds to second place Chris Froome, Aru was always under pressure during his yellow jersey stint. Aru would eventually crack after the team broke apart on stage 14, ceding the yellow jersey back to Froome.
I tried to bring him to the front, but he just didn't stay on my wheel, so it's hard to keep him in the front then.
Was he saying anything to you?
No. Did he lose the jersey or what?
Yeah, Froome has it now.
Ah, good.
The fight for the podium would become more bleak into the final week as he swapped second place for 5th in Paris. After coming so close to glory, we wondered if Aru could ever clinch that Tour de France trophy. However, this would be Aru's final tango in the top tier of the general classification. Trading his Astana jersey for the UAE Team Emirates colours in the off-season, Aru began the season with new ambitions and a whole new host of riders around him. Despite this, the change of scenery did not grant Aru a passage to Grand Tour glory. As the Italian champion, he abandoned the Giro d'Italia before a disappointing ride at the 2018 Vuelta a España. It's fair to say that Aru was losing his spark, but the cycling press held their breath, hoping that 2019 would be Aru's year. After some teething problems at the new team, maybe this was his year for Grand Tour success. This would not materialize, however. Instead, health problems, including artery surgery, would rule the Italian out of the Giro, throwing him unprepared into the Tour de France. A 14th place would be all that Aru wrote home about, as the world witnessed a deflated Fabio Aru. 2020 would place Aru under the radar of the cycling scene, as his new teammate Tadej Pogačar filled the gap as general classification leader following his success at the 2020 Tour de France for the UAE team. Nevertheless, with another change of team, Aru hoped to ignite a new energy in 2021 as he signed for Quebec and X-Hash. This began with the revival of his cyclocross career, but this would not be enough. Disappointing results in the early season did not reflect well on Aru, but a second place at the Vuelta a Burgos brought hope of a renewed Aru, especially given a strong start list at the race. However, he soon announced his retirement after the completion of the 2021 Vuelta a España. As a final swan song, we were hoping for Aru to take success one last time, but this did not come. Instead, Aru rolled over the finishing line in Santiago de Compostela in 51st position, signalling the official curtain call on his cycling career. After 3 Grand Tour podiums, days in all 3 Grand Tour leaders' jerseys, and stage wins in all 3 Grand Tours, Aru was a unique Grand Tour talent that blossomed throughout a short 3-year period. Maybe his success came too early. With Giro podiums and a Vuelta victory to his name before the age of 26, Aru quickly became the next Italian superstar. With this came pressure to replicate his success at the Tour de France. With the added pressure of a departed Nibali from Astana, Aru suddenly became Astana's poster boy. With this He may have missed opportunities to replicate previous success at the Giro d'Italia, especially when it came to the 2017 edition, which kicked off on Aru's island without Fabio on the start line. Furthermore, Aru never harmonized with the Team Sky era of racing, a style that prevented the aggressive nature of riders such as Aru. Also, with the Italian champions jersey on his back and a profile as an exciting rider, the signing to UAE failed to reap the results that Aru gave to Astana. Health problems, however, did plague the final chapters of Aru's story, ruling him unfit as a Grand Tour champion. Maybe the early departure from the sport signaled a lack of motivation to ride at the pro level, given that he couldn't win any more Grand Tours at age 31. Maybe Aru knew that he couldn't replicate his early success from when he was 24 and 25. Maybe there was too much pressure from the press in Italy. These are all questions we will pose long into the future as we all wonder what the happened to Fabio Aru. So that's everything from this breakdown of the former Vuelta a España champion Fabio Aru's career. Don't forget that we'll be covering more of our fallen stars in the weeks to come, so subscribe to the channel. And also, whilst you're here, comment down below what your memory is of Fabio Aru. There's so many great memories of him from the 2010s. My particular memories come from the 2015 Giro d'Italia. So that's everything. Stay tuned to the channel for more cycling coverage, and we will see you around.